Hi, it's Taylor T. Carlson. I'm back with another video for you. Today we're going to be looking at a great new re-release of the Monty Python's Flying Circus series on Blu-ray at long last. If you know me at all, you know that I'm a huge fan of Monty Python. I really have my father to blame for that, but these guys were the ones who pretty much unleashed British comedy on the world. Half a century later, they're still making me laugh. I'm still going back, watching their series, their movies, and so forth. These guys have been so influential, and it's nice to finally get a re-release of the Flying Circus television series. Before moving on with this review, I just thought I'd show you guys a few other things from my Monty Python collection. Got my DVD copy of, and now for something completely different. This was never released on Blu-ray in the United States. And then, of course, my personal favorite, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Easily one of my favorite films of all time. One of the most hilarious ever made. Another great film from the group, Life of Brian. This one was really controversial, but really hilarious. Yeah. The Meaning of Life, the movie where they return to their sketch comedy roots. Not necessarily my favorite, but it does have some great bits. And then I've got Almost the Truth, The Lawyer's Cut. This is a great documentary on the Pythons, and any fan should definitely check that out. And now we arrive at the newest addition to the Python family, Monty Python's Flying Circus, the Norwegian Blu-ray edition. Chances are, even if you're not familiar with Monty Python, you've probably experienced something related to them at some point. The Dead Parrot sketch and the Lumberjack song are probably their most famous works. I'm sure you've touched upon those at some point. The 6 members of Monty Python were Graham Chapman, John Cleese, Eric Idle, Michael Palin, Terry Jones, and Terry Gilliam. Graham Chapman passed away in 1989, and Terry Jones has had to retire from public life due to dementia. But for the most part, the other guys are still going strong. John Cleese just celebrated his 80th birthday, and he still tours and does comedy shows. Terry Gilliam went on to become a famous director, directing movies like Brazil and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. You see these guys pop up all the time, and again, even if you're not familiar with Monty Python as a collective whole, I truly believe at some point in your life you've experienced something by them or related to them, or even influenced by them. Monty Python's Flying Circus was a TV series that ran for 4 seasons, or series as they call them in England, and they made 40-something episodes. Each one runs about half an hour, and the general format is you do get a half-hour episode, which is usually unrelated sketches that are loosely linked. A lot of times, you'll get Terry Gilliam's animation as the linking factor that connects these sketches. Gilliam's animations were very surreal, and he had his own style of doing things, and that's one of the things that really made Monty Python's Flying Circus, as well as their other productions, really unique, standing out from the crowd. As I previously stated, these are the guys that were really responsible with introducing British comedy to the rest of the world. One of my personal favorite things about Monty Python, and this is certainly not limited to the Pythons, but whenever they do a sketch that requires a female character, they just dress in drag and play the female parts themselves, and it's absolutely hilarious. Sometimes you get scenes that require an actual attractive, sexy female, and so for these, they usually bring in a real woman, typically Carol Cleveland. The group had a lot of collaborators and guest stars over the years, and it shows throughout their episodes. 50 years plus later, I mean, I'm still watching this show, and it's still a personal favorite, not to mention all the other films and specials the group did. We got a brand new remastered Monty Python Blu-ray set, so what do you say we unbox this thing? Alright, we have the box set here, which, as I'm sure you can see, it's actually pretty large for what it is. And you got the logo on top here, you got the famous photo of the 6 pythons together on the side. You turn this around. It deliberately looks low budget, which I kind of appreciated. Got the logo on this side as well. And then another pretty nondescript sign. There's a store and ship message right there on the bottom. Personally, I would have liked it if that had one side that said, "Live Ant, handle with care," which of course you'll understand if you've ever watched the Michael Ellis episode. And
Here we get to check out the inside of the package. As you'll see, it's definitely a unique work of art. And these pop out. They don't always quite pop out the way they should, and then getting it back together is kind of a pain. But yeah, down here you got the famous Cupid foot there. Someone's ear. I'm not totally sure what that is. Over here you got replica tickets from the show admission. Got more of the Gilliam animation there. Got the policeman who for some reason has female breasts. This was used in the menus on the older A&E sets, of course. And then turn around here, Monty Python's Flying Circus. And then we look at the center, and of course these are our actual disc containers. One for each of the 4 series, so I'm going to pull these out now. Here's set 1, and they're pretty much the same art, upside down and backwards, so they're almost kind of like playing cards. That's number 1. Number 2, of course, we got the Ministry of Silly Walks. First one had the dead parrot, although it surprisingly looks alive on there. Number 3, you got the nude organist. And on the back, you got the Gilliam animation face. And on number 2, of course, you've also got the Gumby on the other side. And then, 4th and final series, you got the balloons and such, and they got the Mr. Neutron logo on the back. And you'll notice there's partitions here for the various sets to fit in. Here's a zoomed back shot so you can see the whole picture. And a lot of people were complaining that those partitions were getting damaged in shipping, and I never dealt with this problem. I actually ordered 2 of these sets. I ordered one for my father and one for myself. One came from Network in England, who released the set, and the other one came from Amazon.com, who actually double packaged it, and that actually arrived just fine too. So there's been a lot of those issues, but I haven't had any problems myself. So now comes the part that's kind of a pain, and that's putting the box back together. I'm going to leave the discs out for now because we're going to have some screen caps later, but these walls don't stand on their own, so it's kind of a pain to get this lid back on here. Having an extra hand would really come in handy, as I'm sure you will surely see here in a moment. And okay, we got it back together without too much difficulty there. Now we'll take a look at the contents of what's in the individual sets. I'm not going to open up each and every one of them. I'm just going to do season 1 here so you get the idea. As you can see here, you've got the discs, and you've also got a booklet. So we'll go ahead and take these out. The booklets with the disc, you got some photos from the sketches, backstage photos of the Pythons. Then you got your actual discs right here. Each of them has 2 discs, with the exception of the 4th series, which only had a few episodes, so that only has 1 disc. And then, of course, the other big highlight here, each series has its own book, and these books are huge. They're packed with information. I'll just open up here to show a few examples. I mean, you got all these like news articles on the Pythons. You go back, lots of words, takes a lot of time to read these, but then you get like details for each sketch in each episode, who played who, including the guest stars, which is kind of nice. And then each season has one of those in this set, so if you're a diehard Python fan and you want to learn more about the group, the sketches, the making of the show, these booklets are just what you need.
I'm not going to get too into the history of the Pythons here, nor am I going to do like episode-by-episode reviews. I mean, everyone's got their favorites, everyone's got the ones they don't like quite as well. Typically, I would say most of the material here holds up pretty well. Admittedly, a few of the sketches do come off feeling like fillers, and they don't quite accomplish what some of the more popular, more well-developed sketches do, but for the most part, there really isn't anything in here that I'd say is just a complete throwaway either. If you're watching this video, you're probably already familiar with Monty Python to some extent, and your big question is going to be, how does this box set measure up? We just took a look inside, and I will say this, the packaging is kind of a pain to deal with. I wish they'd given the option of purchasing just the 4 sets bundled together on their own without all the deluxe edition packaging. I know in England they've put out Series 1 on its own, and I think they're planning on doing individual releases of the other series as well. This set was remastered and released by a British company called Network, and even though this is a British Region B release, the Blu-ray set is region-free. You can play this on any Blu-ray player. I have noticed a few people around the world in some reviews, both online, written, and in videos, have talked about having trouble playing this on their machines. I've got this set and I've tried it out on several Blu-ray and 4K players, and I've had no problem whatsoever playing it. There have been several older re-releases of Monty Python's Flying Circus, both on VHS and DVD, mostly released by A&E here in the States, and those older releases, the picture quality is just not that good because you're working with questionable elements. A lot of the sketches have been edited from the original content, and the big thing about this set is Network tried to restore these episodes to their original content with nothing removed and gave a complete restoration to the picture quality. Of course, Monty Python's Flying Circus was shot on both film and videotape. Videotape being lower grade, and you can't really upgrade much from standard definition, whereas film properly mastered will typically look absolutely gorgeous. As this is a hybrid between the two formats, naturally, you're going to have some scenes that look better and more detailed than others, but they've done an amazing job cleaning things up here. The show looks almost brand new at times. Some of the effect shots, naturally, are a little dated, but even the Terry Gilliam animations have really been cleaned up. I'm now going to show you a few comparison clips just so you can kind of get an idea of what to expect here as far as picture quality goes.
We are here today to witness the opening of a new box to replace the box which used to stand on the corner of Ulverston Road and Sandwood Crescent. Owing to a programme of road widening being carried out by the Borough Council, the Ulverston Road box was removed, leaving the wall box in Esher Road as the only box for the people of the Ulverston Road area.
And now for something completely different.
As you can see, these sets are a pretty big upgrade picture quality-wise. Additionally, there's a ton of unreleased rare content, including outtakes. Even the episodes start on Chapter 2, and if you go back to Chapter 1, you'll see the original BBC countdown clocks, I thought that was kind of a cool feature, certainly unexpected, not in any of the previous releases. That said, I did have one other problem with this set in addition to the design of the box itself, and that's that they did not include the bonus material that A&E included in their sets, the 2 discs of Monty Python Live. This means you don't get the Live at Aspen special, you don't get the Hollywood Bowl special, and you don't get the German episode that they included. That's a disappointment because one of my favorite Python sketches is the Bavarian restaurant sketch, which was never done in the English language. Also, these menus are honestly a little bland. It's pretty much plain text. The old A&E set had animated menus that had a lot of personality to them. You can look at some of these screenshots here to get an idea of what I mean. Granted, menu design certainly is not a deal killer. The remaster job here is great. The bonus footage is great. The fact that the bonus material in a lot of cases looks as good as the actual remastered episodes is the icing on the cake. I'm definitely a huge Monty Python fan. I don't know if there's like a special word for Python fans. I guess if Jimmy Buffett's fans are called parrot heads, I guess we can call Monty Python fans dead parrot heads. Does that work? What is your opinion of this set? Are you a Python fan as well? Have you seen the set yet? Do you own the older releases? If you have anything at all you'd like to say, please comment in the section below. Subscribe to my channel, like this video. I'd love to have you check back and share your feedback with me. This has been Taylor T. Carlson, and I'll see you in my next review.